Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. This is going to be my Game of Thrones time travel video. There's a big theory about Bran Stark, the three-eyed raven, so just careful for spoilers for everything that's happened so far. We've seen a lot of flashbacks with the three-eyed raven and Bran looking at different pieces of Robert's rebellion, things leading up to the origin of certain characters, certain big events that we read about in the books, and a lot of people have wondered whether or not Bran has the ability to influence the past. The three-eyed raven has said the past has already been written, the ink is already dry, so he's implying that Bran can't do anything to change the past, to alter the timeline. But what I think is happening here is he wants Bran to learn about the past so that he can affect his own future. You can't change what already happened, but you can change what might end up happening. Most of his storyline has been consumed with learning about the War for the Dawn, learning who the most important players are, how they figure into the grand scheme of things, and how he can use them to defeat the White Walkers. So you learn about Jon Snow, Daenerys, any of the other characters that you feel like might make it to the end will probably be tied to Bran's flashbacks. And even though the three-eyed raven is dead now, that doesn't mean that Bran can't still go back. He has all the powers of the three-eyed raven, so taking a bigger step up on the tinfoil ladder, the latest theory that I've seen is what if Bran really is the three-eyed raven? The three-eyed raven is an older version of Bran who traveled to the past to teach himself about the War for the Dawn. The problem with that is that it flies in the face of a lot of book canon. It's an interesting 12 Monkeys spin on the idea that Bran really can affect the past, because it seems like Ned Stark, young Ned Stark here, can hear him when he whispers, but when you read the books and you read about these flashbacks, it's described as more like what you would think a tree would sound like if it were talking to you, like the rustling of wind and leaves, like you feel like you might hear something but you can't quite make out the words. So that's what I think is happening on the show. It's just that they're being very opaque about it. I think there'd be more merit to the idea of him changing the past had the three-eyed raven not had that line of dialogue where he said, the ink is already dry. So even if Bran's able to have a low level of communication with people in the past, like Ned Stark could kind of hear him, nothing he could do would change events in a meaningful way. I feel like the episode 5 Hodor twist is really what threw people for a loop, because Bran is warped into Hodor while he's also in the past, so there's kind of this continuous link from the future to the past. So young Willis here is able to hear Mira shouting, "Hold the door," and it's such a psychically traumatic event that his brain just gets stuck on the idea of hold the door, and his speech, like the speech centers of his brain are affected, so that's all he can say. It's just him having a slight effect on an event that was going to play out that way no matter what. So really the takeaway is that you could believe that Bran can affect the past, but he can't change what's going to happen. So I know a lot of people are like, what if he whispered to the Mad King and tried to change the past? What if the three-eyed raven tried to change the past, and he's the one that led to the Mad King becoming mad? When you think about it, really what's happening is the Mad King was always going to be mad, so no matter what the three-eyed raven might have tried to whisper to him, it didn't fundamentally alter anything that he ended up doing. But here's the really interesting idea that we haven't talked too much about. I definitely do think the three-eyed raven has gone back and looked at the Long Night. He's seen all of history, and that's what he's trying to show Bran. We're seeing the first Night's King. Presumably the show has changed the timeline a little, it's compressed things, so the Long Night of the TV show sounds like it's 1,000 years ago instead of the 8,000 years ago that it is in the books. So he's taking Bran 1,000 years into the past to witness the birth of the first Night's King. So if he's gone back that far, then the three-eyed raven has probably jumped all over the timeline just to get more information on things, and Bran will probably continue to do that. But he doesn't have full command over his powers. It really took Dan and Dave clarifying things after the episode last week, where they said the three-eyed raven, once he realizes the Night's King is coming to kill them, he tries to upload all of his information to Bran. But in that moment, he tells Bran that it's time for you to become me. Really what he's saying is it's time for you to be the last Green Seer, to take up my cause. But I think the source of that Bran as three-eyed raven theory just comes from that line where they're like, maybe the three-eyed raven is literally Bran. But when you look at the books, the reason it flies in the face of book canon is that the three-eyed raven is named Brynden Rivers. That was his original name. He was one of the bastards of the Targaryen king that set off the first Blackfire Rebellion. It was this big period in Westerosi history. It's really interesting if you guys haven't read it yet. But he got a bunch of different names. He had this long history. He's about 200 years old in the books. They called him Lord Bloodraven. As a Green Seer, he had very powerful magic. Eventually, he took the black, became Lord Commander, and then one day just kind of wandered north of the Wall, never to be seen again. But presumably, that's when he came to this Weirwood to start focusing more on the War for the Dawn. But the TV show has really skipped over all that, so that's why a lot of people are like, maybe he's future Bran. So we can definitely pour water on that. The Three-Eyed Raven is a totally different person from Bran, just a person like Bran who was a Green Seer that learned about the War for the Dawn, that he had an important role to play. But sometimes the show can be a little confusing with the way it explains things. There was a line of dialogue that he had earlier where he talked about 1,000 years of history, making it sound like he was implying he was 1,000 years old. Really, he's closer to 200 years old. The other big example of this is the Night's King. This is, I think, where we're talking about the TV show diverging from the books. Dan and Dave have said that, but they've been really opaque about which parts are vastly diverged, because they said that George R. R. Martin told them about this big twist with the White Walkers being created by the Children of the Forest. They told them about the Hodor reveal. So you have to think of the TV show as Cliff's Notes for the books. So while it seems like there's only one Night's King on the TV show, there have actually been many. Like when people talk about the historical Night's King of the books, the 13th Lord Commander that may or may not have been a Stark, George R. R. Martin clarified after season 4 that the mythical Night's King probably lived and died during the Age of Heroes, like Lan the Clever or Bran the Builder. Back to the time travel theory, here's another interesting idea about Bran. What if Bran is all of the Brans? Like, what if he's Bran the Builder? A lot of people are just wondering if he's able to influence the past in that way. And based on what George R. R. Martin has said, and based on what the books have said, I think that's not true. But let me know in the comments, even if you haven't read any of the stuff that George R. R. Martin has answered, sometimes he'll answer questions about the books like that. Do you think that Bran can literally affect the past, as in go back and prevent someone from dying? Like, do you think if he really wanted to, he could try to find a way to prevent Ned Stark from being beheaded? I feel like all that is set in stone, so even if he could speak to his father, he wouldn't be able to change the fact that he got beheaded. But a new episode of Game of Thrones tonight. There is a new round of the giveaway. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and leave a comment on this video. It's just a $20 Amazon gift card. So I'll post my episode 6 video after it airs. I'm hoping we get some more Bran flashbacks, but I think they're more worried about escaping that army of whites right now. But we've actually gotten a couple big twists in almost every single episode, so I am expecting something really awesome. While you guys wait for that video to post, you can click here to learn about how the actor who plays Ramsay Bolton wants Ramsay to die on the show, and you can click here for my Hold the Door video. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Let's high five. I'll see you guys tonight.